that said, let's get to the last segment of this show. Going to talk about Udo Dirkschneider. Udo Dirkschneider has a re-recorded version of the Accept album Balls to the Wall that he is going to release. And I have some thoughts on that. So I think this is a really cool idea. Normally, when a band says, hey, we're going to re-record this album, I kind of take it with a grain of salt. I'm really not like enthused or excited about it because most of the time that re-recording doesn't do the band's original album justice. Sometimes it does. Sometimes, like the Blind Guardian re-recording of Somewhere Far Beyond, I thought sounded great. But more often than not, I'm kind of like when bands are like, we're gonna re-record a classic album, an album that was very big for us. I kind of just like, okay, whatever. Doesn't really do anything for me, right? I think this is cool. And the reason that I think this is cool is the fact that Udo was doing this in a much different way than most other bands do re-recordings. You know, on occasion, these re-recorded albums, they do have guests that do come on, maybe play a solo. But on this record, he has a different singer on the album with him on each song of this album. I'm going to read off. Let's look at the list of people that he has on this album, because he has a very, very impressive list of people and a very diverse list of people. I want to give you my thoughts on each one of these singers when it comes to this Accept album. Let's flash this up here on the screen really quick of the list of singers he has singing on this album with him. Check this out. So, the title track, Balls to the Wall, Joachim Broden of Sabaton. That's an excellent choice. London Leather Boys. You got Biff Bifford from Saxon. You can't go wrong there. Fight It Back. He has Mil Petroza from Creator singing on that. I think that's really cool. That'll be interesting. Head Over Heels, you have Nils Mullen of Dynasty. Very good vocalist. I think he'd sound great. Now, this is one that I think was very, very interesting. On the song Losing More Than You've Ever Had, Michael Kiske from Helloween, who is a completely different style of singer than pretty much anybody on this record, and of course so much different than Udo. Eva Erickson from Brothers of Metal singing the song Love Child. Turn Me On with Danko Jones. Losers and Winners with Dee Snider. I think that sounds really interesting. Guardians of the Night, Tim Ripper Owens. Can't really go wrong with Tim singing on a song like that. And then last but not least, one of my favorite people in the metal scene that I've ever interviewed, Doro Pesch, singing on the song Winter Dreams. I don't know about you, but this re-recording of this album has me kind of excited because he's doing this in a manner that's a lot different than a lot of other bands would probably do this. First of all, you have a list of great singers. There's not one singer on this list that I think would sound bad on any of these songs. The Michael Kiske thing is very intriguing. But you have a list of great talent on this re-recording of this album. I mean, I'm looking at this list and I'm like, you know, you can't go wrong with any of these people. Now, the Doro Pesch and Michael Kiske renditions of the songs that they are singing on are the ones I'm very interested in. But man, you got Tim Ripper Owens singing on it, Mil Petroza. You just have a lot of great singers on this re-recording. And I think it's a great way to celebrate an album because I can guarantee you, I don't know how much of an influence Accept has had on all these people, but it's probably had some influence on them, especially the German musicians. Like, you know, Accept, you know, again, Scorpions and Accept were like the two bands from Germany, or two of the bands from Germany that really had a huge impact on the metal scene there. The Scorpions, especially early on, like during the Uli Roth days, and then of course Accept coming a little bit later, and Wolf Hoffman being who he is. Wolf Hoffman's a fantastic guitar player, fantastic songwriter, and except this has just been a big influence for a lot of musicians. So I love the fact Udo is doing this. Now, if he was just going and re-recording the album and just singing on it, to me, it would be pretty boring. But the fact he is doing it with a lot of these guests is what I find not only fascinating, but it's a twist that you don't see many times when it comes to re-recordings of classic albums. I'm looking forward to checking this out. I'm actually looking forward to hearing this record and hearing what these singers sound like on these songs. Want to know what you think. What do you think of this re-recording? Even if you're not a fan of bands re-recording albums, I'm curious as to what you all think. Hey everybody, Tony here from the Metal Command podcast. Again, I appreciate your support. Since 1998, I have hosted this show in one form or another, starting off in radio and now in the podcast format. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and hear on this show, by all means, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell to be notified anytime I do post a video, and if you see this program on any other form of social media, please give me a follow there. Again, I always appreciate your support.